Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob, channel with Smirking Gun, and I'm the last person probably to do an Avengers Infinity War reaction, review, whatever. I wanted to, I've been planning this for a while. Before I knew, like when I planned it, I was getting a new space to film in, and I had the banner, and I finally got some cool stuff, and I got a microphone now hooked up here. Hopefully it makes everything sound better. I have not watched any other people's reviews, no reactions. I just saw the movie yesterday at the IMAX here, and so everything that I say, I didn't hear from anybody else, like how they feel about certain things and all that. This is all my own take, no kind of influences from anybody. But just to get started, back in 1989, the movie Tim Burton's Batman pretty much changed everything for me. That movie was the movie. I was already into comic books, but that movie, I saw it, I don't know how many times at the theater. I wore the VHS tape out. It just was the first time anything that I had always, been looking at in comics was finally put on screen right. And it's just crazy to believe after, it's almost been, 30 years since that movie came out. And this is where we're at. And it almost, Infinity War almost makes the first Avengers now, which was only 6 years ago, seem quaint. So before I even get started, full spoilers. Everybody else is doing their spoilers the day after it came out. So if you haven't seen the movie, definitely go check it out. I don't expect hardly anybody to see this video because there's just so many people doing these. But I love the Marvel Universe so much. I love comic book movies, period. It doesn't matter if you're DC or Marvel or Vertigo or just Image Comics, whatever. If you're making a good movie, if you make a good comic book movie, I don't care what company you are from. And when I was a kid reading comics back in the early 90s, starting back then, in the late 80s, the Infinity Gauntlet story, for me, there were other big event stories from other books that come out, but since I started around 88, 89, 90, the Infinity Gauntlet story for me was the first big event book series I read, and it blew my freaking mind. Because it's just this one dude comes in and just wipes the floor with everyone. And I hated Thanos. I hated him. But it was that was what made, if you can hate somebody that much, they're doing something right in the storyline as far as villains go. I guess you can hate some, a character or anything, for the wrong reasons. But Thanos is just this force of nature, and you just look at him, he just looks like a big dude. We've seen big dudes. He's the same size as the Hulk, so what makes this guy so special and everything? And I was a little worried at how they were going to do that in this movie, but we'll get to that. But this movie is the comic book movie event that they've never done before. You can call Avengers an event, but in Age of Ultron, an event. But to me, when they first come out, the Avengers is the event. But as we go on, this is really the event movie that they've been planning. I feel like Avengers and Age of Ultron were basically 6-issue kind of story arcs that you'd read in a comic. This is what you build up for when something is happening. One of the ways that I feel that I want to explain that is because it is just the heroes. There is really nobody civilians and stuff in this. It is almost non-existent in this movie. We aren't all of a sudden following just a couple of people normies, so that you have some sort of frame of reference at the destruction and things going on. This movie's bigger than that because, so it doesn't focus on the civilians because they don't like, that if the stakes are so high that you don't need to focus on just like in Justice League with the Russian family, or in Age of Ultron with the sort of another Eastern European, like the kid and the mom, or in Avengers with Ashley Johnson in the store and saying, so that later on it can pay off with, he saved me and they're heroes and all that. This movie doesn't need any of that because there's no time for that. We've got Thanos coming to just F everything up. And so, oh my gosh, I mean, it's just so like, I don't even know like if I want to talk about specific scenes so much. The Russo brothers have now made my top 3 movies now in the MCU. Winter Soldier, Civil War, and now this. These are my top 3 movies. I don't know where they rank yet. I'm going to see Infinity War on Wednesday again, and really sit there and, watch it instead of like, the first experience. The second experience, I can start to like really analyze and look at things. But it's definitely my top 3. And a lot of that is because the Russo brothers just did it again. I mean, they know how to spin plates, a lot of plates, with their background in like shows like Community, and knowing how to balance an ensemble cast and giving everybody just about something to do. Now, in a movie like this, there are going to be people that get, kind of the short end of the stick, but what are you going to do? You've got this many heroes and new villains and just storylines going, all over the place. Very much like a kind of a Star Wars thing where people are doing this over there and this over there and this over there and this over there. It's not easy to do, and they pulled it off really good. I didn't watch like videos and stuff, but there were a couple of like reviews that like blurbs where people were saying this movie was like exhausting. I can see that I've seen movies that exhausted me because they were boring and not interesting. This movie to me was not exhausting at all, and it didn't feel 2.5 hours long. It just kept going though, which is great. That's what you want. If you've ever read one of these books, it's just shit just happening and happening and happening. Not a lot of room to breathe. Not a lot of time to calm down because shit's real. Shit is really going down, and they have to, you can't let up for a second. So I feel like I really haven't talked about the movie at all. Talked about more like the experience and like the filmmaking and whatever, but so I guess I need to get into that. I mean, right off the bat, I mean, you've got the destruction of basically all of Thor's people. We saw that at the end of Thor Ragnarok. We knew that the beatdown was going to start there pretty much, and it didn't, it's just devastating. You get Loki, who very misguidedly tried to do the right thing after giving the Tesseract to Thanos and paying for it with his life, and it felt permanent, and it was like big because here's a villain getting taken out, like the villain in the Marvel Universe being taken out by the new guy, the new villain on the block. And it was very fitting that Loki was killed by Thanos, seeing as how a lot of people, consider Loki to be the best villain in the MCU. It was also crazy to see that the Hulk just gets the shit kicked out of him so bad that he doesn't show up again for the entire movie, which is amazingly a good, interesting, and I think right choice to make. That Hulk is afraid of Thanos so much, he won't even come out to face him anymore. So that's just incredible. It's just great. I mean, because you want to see that Hulk moment, but it's like, it's greater storytelling to actually show that the Hulk was so afraid he didn't want to have anything to do with this anymore. And having to have Banner in the Hulkbuster armor. I didn't see that coming. I thought that was going to be Tony the whole way. It was just a great changing of your conception of what was going to happen. The whole thing with Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy, taking that feel of a Guardians movie and the Russos making it like yes, we're gonna make it a Guardian scene, scenes, but still feel like we're all in the same movie. So they play, Rubber Band Man, and you can kind of see, like how there are different movies kind of going on in this, but still feeling like one. So let's talk about the Guardian stuff. There's got to be a lot of people that I love Chris Pratt, but a lot of people have got to hate Star-Lord right now. That was one of my few, little problems with the movie. Was just okay, this was where they were going. They had to figure out how to get there. And unfortunately, poor Star-Lord, they wrote him like as a little bitch. A little bit. Like he can't, kill Gamora. When he does, it's too late. And the whole baiting of Thanos where, they're all telling him to stop and they've got him. They've got the Infinity Gauntlet almost off of him. And he fucks it up. And it's like they wrote him to do that. And I mean, if I'm Chris Pratt, I'm like, man, you guys really messed with my character. Like nobody's going to like me anymore. And that's crazy. And I mean, Gamora getting killed by Thanos, I mean, it was sad and, just, it gave Thanos more range because he really believes that if he wipes out half the universe, he's doing the right thing. And him actually feeling bad that he is having to sacrifice Gamora in his own twisted way of loving her. But he still has to get what he wants. It was a great, powerful scene. I mean, there were people in the audience that were just really quiet. You could tell people were upset. I couldn't really get upset with anything in the movie, like as far as emotionally. There were a couple of moments where I was like, oh, but nothing where I was, going, oh God, I'm gonna cry. It's because I've read the Infinity Gauntlet like, I don't know, 20 times. So, I mean, that this is the beatdown coming. So, anyway, to get back on track, I really did like the Thor, Rocket, Groot scenes where they meet Peter Dinklage. Great cameo. I mean, having, what do you do with Peter Dinklage? You don't want to just have him always you don't want to be offensive and always just, well, he's little, so what do we do with him? That can really get offensive sometimes, depending on how you want to play it. Like in Days of Future Past, he was this guy, he just happened to be small. And I think if they kept trying to find ways to just do that, it might just be whatever. But I really like that they made him a giant. Like, I mean, come on, Dinklage has got to be like, hey man, we're going to make you a giant. I mean, how do you pass that up? So the only thing I felt like that was kind of underwhelming was that Groot, who's usually this really, standout character, really didn't have anything to do in this movie except for a couple of lines and a couple little moments. And that's about it. I was really surprised that they didn't do a little bit more with him. Rocket, on the other hand, had some stuff with Thor and like him actually, first joking about being the captain and then being the captain. And the whole thing with Star-Lord and Thor, oh my gosh. I mean, the whole audience is just laughing at Star-Lord's complete just how absolutely full of himself and unsure of himself at the same time he is. He's just, and I guess that's going to be another one of those things like about Star-Lord in this movie that's going to come across is that, man, he really needs to grow up. He really needs to learn from, however this all gets reversed in Avengers 4. That's a character that has to change a lot. But I think, other than just, there's a lot of really good moments with Drax and them and Mantis and everything. They handled them really good. Spider-Man in the Iron Spider suit. Holy moly. Okay, I knew that the suit looked good, but I didn't know we were getting the arms. I saw the arms and I'm just like, oh my God. We got the Iron Spider suit. And the whole thing with Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man on the ship was really great. One problem. when they were fighting Thanos on Titan, he was making his little, little wormholes, little gateways into other places all over the place. Zip, zip, zap, zip through, How does that work in space? That he can't, he couldn't just bring them back to Earth with a little spell? That they had to go to Titan? I mean, again, the story needed them to go there. Well, why couldn't he just open up a thing and they could just bounce out of there and be back at Earth? Like I said, I don't know how everything works. This seemed like a plot hole to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just kind of bugged me a little bit. I know that the story needed them to do what they did, but that whole fight scene on Titan was great too. I mean, and Tom Holland as Spider-Man in this is just so great. I mean, you guys ever see Aliens and Tony saying, no more movie references for the rest of the trip, and Doctor Strange and Tony butting heads. When Doctor Strange called Tony a douchebag, I laughed out fucking loud. It was just great. Two of these egos bashing into each other for the first time. Like, it was beautiful and hilarious, and their chemistry was so great. And we'll just keep going on about this. Doctor Strange, he's definitely he's got something up his sleeve, okay? He said, they asked him how many of these scenarios have you seen, and he's like 14 million, right? Something like that, and a higher number than that. But how many times did we win? 1. And you also remember that he told Tony that if it became, down to Spider-Man and him and the stone, that I wouldn't, he would sacrifice them for the stone. And then he sacrifices himself. He lets this happen to himself. So Doctor Strange knows something. Otherwise, he would not have let this happen. And that is going to be amazing to find out what that is. Because Doctor Strange was really, really good in this. I mean, really good. I mean, it's one of those things where if you didn't see the movie Doctor Strange, you need to go home and watch it right away. Because they really brought his character to the forefront in this movie in the best possible way. And Benedict Cumberbatch, damn dude, I can't wait to see your next movie. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with you in Avengers 4. I do like that they've explained why Scott Lang and Clint Barton, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, were not in this. About, the whole thing with the Accords and making deals because they have families. So it will explain kind of where, when Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out, that'll be explained. Hawkeye, on the other hand, still don't know what's going on with him. I'm just glad he didn't die in this movie. Or maybe he did, and we didn't see it. The whole thing with the Black Order. There wasn't much you could do with these guys, right? They were either going to really wipe the floor with the Avengers or not, right? I mean, so they seemed to be really capable. But there had to be somebody that the Avengers could beat. That way, when Thanos comes, at least you saw them kick some ass. And so they were really, they were interesting. I mean, there wasn't much time to develop them, really. If anybody knows the comics and the Black Order, I mean, they're pretty scary guys. And they were tough. But they were kind of the cannon fodder. They had to have somebody where, when they got messed up with like the dude's hand getting ripped off to the thing flying up and hitting her and killing her. Carrie Coon, by the way, I heard her voice. Didn't really look like her, but I love Carrie Coon. Leftovers. So they were just there. And I mean, they were kind of forgettable, but like they needed, again, something for the Avengers to punch and so we could go and cheer before we started crying. The whole thing with Wakanda was pretty well done. At parts of it, I kind of felt like I was watching, like from when they pan out and stuff with the whole bubble and everything. I thought I was watching Phantom Menace a couple of times. Not the story, not thinking, oh, this is the same story, but just that look. It just reminded me of the final fight in Phantom Menace. And again, they had to have cannon fodder, these things that they could fight so that we could cheer. And Man, what else to talk about? You know, Black Panther kind of got the short end of the stick in this. Cap even, to me, got the short end of the stick in this. But, I mean, anytime Cap got to punch, uppercut Thanos. May not have done any good, but it looked awesome. When Denai Guerrera and Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, and Black Panther's little general were teamed up to fight, I went, oh, come on. Like, this is just too, like, I can't wait. I can't believe I'm seeing this fight. Michonne and Black Widow fighting with each other against all the bad guys. Like, it just, there were so many moments where I was just like, oh my gosh, this, and then this, and then this. I mean, it was just beautiful. Speaking of like, oh, come on. Red Skull. I knew it. I didn't say it in any of my videos, but I was saying to other people, you know, he's not, you know, he's got to come back. There has to be a moment where he comes back, because the cube took him and shot him into space. We didn't ever see him again. We all assumed he was like obliterated, but no, he was transported. And while I'm hearing this voice, I'm going, it kind of sounds like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. And then boom, you see it's Red Skull, and I hope I wasn't too loud. And the thing I was like, oh shit, Red Skull. Like, but kind of loud, but not too loud. I completely forgot, and it was amazing. A great callback. I believe it was Hugo Weaving again. It just unexpected, but it's something that I should have expected. Like, I knew that this was out there, and for some reason during all this spectacle, I forgot about that. So when it happened, I was really like, wow, they managed to put that in there too. Just keep going. Vision and Scarlet Witch. There was really only one way that was going to go, right? I mean, I was surprised that he lasted till the end of the movie. But there really was only one way to go for that, and hopefully, you know, it'll improve their characters going forward after everything gets worked out. So let's talk about Thanos. Josh Brolin, damn dude. You're Cable and Thanos. Two of the biggest Marvel characters of all time. They really did, he's probably the best Marvel villain now, right? I mean, they really gave him some depth and character and emotion on his face, and really selling his belief system, even if it's batshit crazy. And giving him that last scene of him saying, you know, I'm going to sit down and look over a sunset at a grateful universe. And that's where they went, how they ended it. And just his power, seeing him just beat people down, even though it was like, I love the look in his face when Captain Rogers is pushing back, and that look like, man, you know, and when he tells Tony, you know, like, hey, I hope I remember you, you know, they remember you and everything. And I thought Tony was going to die for sure. I mean, that was kind of a bait and switch. And so, you know, Thanos wins. He gets the gauntlet, he snaps his fingers, everybody's gone. Gamora's like, you did it, what'd you lose? Everything. And then half of everybody disappears. I did think that it was, I don't quite know how they did this or how they planned it, but that everybody that disappeared, right, doesn't have like a major movie coming out yet, right? So Black Panther's movie just came out, so boom, you can get rid of him. We don't have to see him for a while, right? Spider-Man's movie doesn't come out until like next summer. Avengers 4 comes out before his movie, so they've got plenty of time to get him back in. So go ahead, get rid of Spider-Man, get rid of Vision, get rid of Scarlet Witch. You know, speaking of, you know, like, and the cutscene, you got rid of Nick Fury and Maria Hill. You know, all these people, you know, Nick Fury hasn't really been in much. You know, the Guardians, they're all gone except for Rocket, but their movie's not coming out till probably what, 2020? So these are all characters that you can disappear for a while and not break, you know, their mold. And I wonder if when they were planning out this movie, that they were like, these are the people we're going to get rid of, because they don't have, since we've got these movies planned, these are the safe ones. Which is why I was just like shocked that we've got the core Avengers still alive. We've got Cap. We've got Thor. Ooh, with that awesome sword. Well, not sword. The axe, the Stormbreaker. We got Iron Man halfway across the universe, but he's still alive. We've got Black Widow, I think, right? Black Widow's still around. So we've got like basically Hawkeye if he's still out there, and Hulk. We've got the original Avengers team still alive. And Captain Marvel's coming. So, I mean, this was just so epic. I could keep going and going and going. I'm missing so much. But there's, you've seen it. This is just my 2 cents on it. And, the nitpicks that I do have with it, yeah, after a while you can start picking apart any movie. But this is what an event movie is supposed to look like. This is how it's supposed to feel. And this is the comic book event of all time. It has led to this. And like I said, it makes Avengers feel kind of quaint at this point. And I'm hoping, that after Avengers 4, we can calm down for a minute and go back to more personal solo stories again, like Doctor Strange 2 and things like that. But, man, just great. And again, I don't know where to rank it yet. But it is in the top 3. I just don't know what to do yet with that. So I'll have to rethink it. I really hope you like this video. I still know that I'm missing things, and I wish I wasn't. There's so many badass moments that it's hard to, just pick. I mean, get this man a shield. He has like 2 of them. Bucky, getting a new arm, and Rocket saying, I'm getting that arm. So, I could keep going forever. It's already been like 26 minutes, so I'm going to cut it there. If you like this video, please like it. Hopefully my microphone is working and making things sound a little bit better. So you can hear it on your phone. Anyway, subscribe if you'd like. I've only got 32 subscribers. We're always looking for more. I'm not looking to monetize. I would just like to have a few extra subscribers so that I know there's people out there watching. And it gives me more motivation to do more videos and, make them better. Try to make them better anyway. So this is Rob from Smirking Gun telling you, if you haven't seen Infinity War, get out there and go see it once, twice, 3 times a lady. And we will see you on the next video, Tomorrow's Legion. So have a great one. Bye. Infinity War. Wow.